Welcome back, Tiger fans. Thank you for watching this video and supporting. I really do appreciate everything. And I do apologize for the lack of a St. Kilda preview. I'd been away for a couple of days and things just got flat out chaotic. So I wasn't able to bring one to you. And obviously I'm a few days later than I would have liked to have been for the St. Kilda review as well. So what I'm going to do is and you would have seen it from the thumbnail, but I've combined the St. Kilda review with the West Coast preview. Obviously the West Coast game, well, there's a bit to talk about, obviously, but it's a bit of a weird one because West Coast being West Coast, we know where they're at. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to put both videos together. We'll smash them out in one hit, get it over and done with. But I appreciate you bearing with me throughout this anyway. So we'll get into the Saints game because we might as well smack it out of the park. Um, I'm starting to wonder at this point where we draw the line between our brave performances or the honourable losses, and when does it become disappointing? Now, I know we're all pretty self aware of where our list is at. And, we're in that transition phase. We've got a lot of injuries, a lot of young guys. I think we've got 10 plus players that have played under 35 games or something like that. So we're a young side, clearly, and the experience that we've had in the past isn't there. But we've got, we had a strong lead against the Saints. And it only took us 15 minutes to really blow that and then, let them sort of run over the top a little bit, not run over the top in the sense that they kicked away, but just run over the top in terms they hit the front and we couldn't claw it back. So it's a bit of an interesting one. And obviously, as I alluded to, we started off the game so strong. It was massive. The energy was there. We took that energy from the Sydney game the week before. We brought it to Norwood Oval. The pressure, the ball movement, the intent was all right where we needed it to be. And that went pretty much for the first half. Probably very late in the second, I noticed a bit of a dip. And that's when I thought, oh, we're giving Saints a sniff here. And then obviously that third quarter started. There was probably that 15-minute window in that third quarter where they basically just did whatever they pleased. They were plus 21 in contested possessions. They were hitting the scoreboard. They weren't missing like they were earlier in the game. And it was starting to cost us. We felt it. And obviously they hit the front. We made it an arm wrestle, which I was really proud of. We didn't just lie down and let them roll over the top of us. We made it a contest. We didn't let them easily beat us, but regardless, depending how you want to put the spin on it, you can put a positive spin and say, we were noble and we did this and we did that. Or you can put the negative spin and say, well, we had the lead. Why'd we blow it? So depends on how you want to look at it. I look at it a little bit both ways. I'm sort of right down the middle. I'm a bit impartial to it. I wasn't super upset with the loss, but I also know that we did have an opportunity to win that game and then, get two wins in a row. What confidence that'll be for the boys. So I am disappointed, but at the same time, I'm proud of what I did see. And, I'm a realist as well. Like, I understand the injuries that we've got. I understand the team that's out there, the youth that's out there, and the inexperience that's out there as well. So I'm not naive in the fact that, we should be just belting teams, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also, I also do want to see us play well. I want to see us do it consistently. And we've obviously been used to a standard of football over the last 6, 7 years. And it's going to be a switch, and it'll be all year. It'll be that switch where we're not quite used to seeing the performances that we're going to be seeing, but I think it's being able to appreciate them, take them in, whilst they're not the winning performances we're used to or we want to see. Let's take a bit of excitement out of these young guys. Tom Brown, one of the best kicks in the team, if not the best kick in the team at the moment. Unreal. Maurice Riley Jr., his pressure, he's hitting the scoreboard as we saw him this week, which was impressive as he's lifted. Tyler Sonsy's playing some good footy. The half a second glimpse we've got of Kane McAuliffe is looking really exciting. Tyler Young's playing well. We've got Gibcus to come back from injury next year. I know it's a bit of a wait, but we've got him to come back as well. It's exciting. It is really exciting. Jack Ross is finally playing his permanent role in the side, which I've been calling for a couple of seasons now, but we've finally got him there. So there's a lot of upside, and I think that's what we've got to look at. But back to the game in itself, like I said, it was a bit of an arm wrestle in that last quarter. Could have really gone either way. We had our chances. St Kilda had a couple of chances to put us away also. I think the biggest thing that hurt us, and I know a lot of people have messaged me saying this, and I do agree, the lack of a genuine tall forward or a key forward really hurt, because there's a few times we went forward and we didn't look like scoring because we had no target. We had no big option down there. I don't like to be a negative. Um, well, I don't like to be negative and put spins on it and target players. I've always said that and I'll always do that. But I don't think Jacob Kazitsky is going to be the player that I think the club hoped that he probably would. And maybe as a third tall alongside Lynch and Bolter, then maybe he would play the role that we sort of needed him to or wanted him to. But I think as the one out key, he's just from what I've seen, he's not cutting it right now. And I think if he goes to the VFL, works on his craft a little bit, we might have brought him in too soon potentially. I honestly thought that Naismith would have come in and doubled up in the ruck with Nank and then rested down forward or vice versa and been a bit more of a presence up there than I thought that Cozzy was. But again, he was playing against good defenders as well. He was by himself up there, and we did rely on our smalls to kick all the goals. Shea Bolton kicked 4 goals, unreal. Rioli kicked 2, as we know. So it was tough, and it was always going to be tough without a genuine key forward. So I take that into consideration as well when you look at the performance and who we did and didn't have out in the park. And it's those not necessarily their numbers, but it's the positions that those players play and the role that they play as well. And I think that's what started to hurt us a bit. But again, I said I'm proud that we didn't let them roll over. We did make it a scrap, when we could have easily just laid down. And I'm glad that we didn't do that. So I will take my hat off to them for that. Um, just quickly on Gather Round, big fan of it. Obviously, Richmond haven't won a game in Gather Round yet, but I do like the concept. I haven't been there yet. Everyone who's been says how amazing it is. I'm very keen to get over next year, regardless of where it is. You'd assume Adelaide just because of how successful it is there, but they could move it, and there's a lot of push from other states to get it there as well. So we'll wait and see. But I like the concept of it. I mean, you're unlucky if you go over there and you end up playing against one of the Adelaide teams, I feel, because that's a bit of a stitch up. But, I think over the years, so we're all going to cop it a little bit. So that's one problem to another. But again, essentially this game, we saw a great performance from Shea, Dustin Martin racking up 30 disposals, accumulating the footy again. Could have been a little bit cleaner, but that's being picky. Tom Brown, I said it before, he was fantastic again. Tyler Sonzi, I thought had a really good game. I think Ben Miller's really developing, and obviously we've seen him play plenty of footy before, but I think he's really filling that gap nicely, just the way we needed him to. So I'm really happy with him. I could go on Dan Rioli. That's the thing. There wasn't really anyone I could point out and say you're not cutting the mustard. I mean, maybe Cozzy. Actually not Cozzy. Definitely. So far isn't cutting the mustard, but that's not to say that in 5-6 weeks time he won't be able to. Just right now, from what we've seen, I'm not super impressed. I think McKelty. I think he kick a couple. He kicked minimum one, but I think when he gets a bit more confidence at AFL level as well, he'll really explode. I think he's got the potential. We've seen it. It was that bone crunching tackle we saw from him. So once he starts to really find himself at AFL level, I'm super excited for that. But yeah, we all know that we've probably, you've spoken about it. You've heard plenty about it, watched all the videos by now. It's Wednesday at the time of recording, Thursday by the time this video gets out. So the game's well and truly done. I apologize for the delay. But that is why I will now switch over and we'll do the West Coast preview. And again, I said this before, it's a bit of an interesting one to preview because we can't exactly just say, oh, it's West Coast, it's a win. We're not in that position. We're not um, a Melbourne or a GWS or a Carlton sitting at the top of the ladder there. We can't just presume we're going to go and beat West Coast because everybody else is doing it. And a few people are saying this is West Coast's chance to win. And we don't want to be that first team. You don't want to be that first team that coughs it up. And, they did actually play quite well against the Swans last week and we're playing at their home. If the crowd gets a little bit excited, they've still got a big membership base considering where they are. So, there'll be fans out there. We've got fans in WA as well. We've got fans everywhere, but you'd imagine the West Coast support would be a lot stronger for them on the day. So, look, for me, it is a danger game. And when I say a danger game, it's one that we should win and I expect us to win. But it's also one that we know the pressure is on us. And if we cough it up, the after effects are detrimental, and not just because of the backlash we'll cop in the media or, you might cop from your mates by losing to West Coast. But I feel like that's mentally scarring as well on some of the players thinking, geez, where are we at? We beat Sydney, who are unreal. We're going to be unreal this year. We're very competitive against Carlton. We're competitive against Port until the last quarter started. We probably should have beaten St Kilda, and then we go over and lose to Work. It's brain rattling. So I think there's a lot of pressure on this game, and I think we can't just tick it as a win. I'll be expecting us to win, like I said, but I don't think it's one of those ones we can just tick it to be a win. So interesting watch. I wonder if we have anyone come back from injury. I don't expect to, but I really don't know anymore. I'm honestly waiting for the club to do a press conference and say that we've had an injury at training or something like that. The way that we're going at the moment, like poor Kane McAuliffe, man, he finally gets his shot. We've been looking forward to him, and then this happens. So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting watch, like I said. But they're already hyping it up. The Harley Reid versus Dusty in the middle because Harley Reid shrugged a bunch of tackles last week, and look, the kid's a gun. There's no doubt about it. He will be a very, very good player for many years to come, provided injuries don't get in the way of him. But I don't know if I'm buying into the Dusty Reed matchup hype. I don't know. And well, actually, speaking of Dusty and back to St Kilda, one thing I did think we might have missed on as a club is having Dusty play for. Okay, he played majority of the game in the midfield. When we really needed a goal, we really needed to spark up forward. Dusty can play not as a tall. He's not going to get those big overhead clunks, but he can play as a big in the sense that he's so strong. And he's scary up there as well. You're going to play a good defender on him because you know the capability that he has going forward. So I really would have loved to have seen Dusty go forward a little bit, just to give us that scoring presence and maybe give us a sniff at actually kicking a goal, because I don't think he played up there enough personally. So we'll see if that flicks around this week against West Coast. Um, Again, like I said, I do fully expect us to win this game, but it is a danger one at the same time, just because there'd be so much pressure on us not losing this game. You don't want to be the first team that loses to West Coast. You don't want to be the first team that loses to North. And because of where we are, and because you look at the wins loss record that we've got, people don't look into the way that we've played and the way we've gone about it and how close we were at certain stages and this and that. So it's easy to say that Richmond could be the team to do it. Let's hope we're not. I personally don't think we will be, but again, I am nervous. I am slightly nervous about this one because we just can't lose the West Coast, can we? I don't know. It's gonna be a good watch. I'm looking forward to it. Again, we've been stitched up with the bloody 4 o'clock timeline on the Sunday afternoon. It's not a great time. Obviously, in West Coast, that's prime time viewing because it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But for Melbourne fans, Richmond fans in Melbourne or anywhere else, it's pretty average. So hope you're watching anyway. Hope you get to, if you're not getting to the game, which I know will be hard for a lot of people that probably watch these videos, but if you're in WA and you can get to the game, absolutely, please let me know. But if you're just going to be watching from home, hopefully we enjoy it. Hopefully it's one we can relax a little bit, just get some glimpses of these young guys, but also hopefully we're not sitting on the edge of our seats stressing like we have been the last few weeks, because we just can't seem to have a comfortable game to watch. It's always seems to be on edge, heart wrenching stuff. So fingers crossed, we'll see how we go. But I'll wrap it up there. Like I said, not a ton to talk about with the West Coast one. It's just going to be one of those games that we need to win. We need to tick those over. We need to get a bit of confidence in the boys to know that we can win games of football. Give some of these young guys that might not have experienced winning too much another opportunity to do so, before we roll into the bye, and have another week or have a week off, sorry, before we have a very good opponent in Melbourne and Anzac Day Eve. So thank you again for watching. I do apologize for the lack of videos the last week and a bit. I'm back on track now. I'm home. Things should be back as normal. So I appreciate you sticking with me. Thank you for watching. If you can comment, like, subscribe, whatever, I really do appreciate the support. I know a bunch of you have come across from the Jumper Punch channel or the Forever Rivals show on Wednesday nights. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. It's obviously it's a long watch on a Wednesday night, so I appreciate you also jumping over here and showing me some support as well. So again, much appreciated. Thank you very much. And let's seriously hope that the next video is talking about a West Coast win and some, some dominant performances from some of our young guys. So until the next video, again, thank you very, very much, and go Tigers.